What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle content. We're back again, 2 videos in a row, in a day, baby, because we have to get down with the Psychic Cup rankings. Now, this is gonna be a little bit different than my standard teams guide for the Psychic Cup here, mostly just because there's not really a set of teams, I would say, that you want to be running in the Psychic Cup, but more so just some things that you should be more aware of as you play the Cup, right? So what I've done is, instead of teams, I'm going to break this down into kind of what the Pokemon's role will be when you're building teams, and maybe some spicier stuff that's a little bit lower on the rankings that I think could do really well in this meta. So in this first slide here, I've got like some of the 4 like just hardest hitting Mons that are in this Cup that could function very, very good as both safe switches, but also as leads, because their move sets allow them to get shields and just do a lot with an energy advantage as well. So they function in both aspects. And again, you could literally make a team with 3 of these 4 things in your lineup. You really could. So Rapidash got its community day recently. If you're going to play Rapidash, I would probably opt to have one with a higher attack stat to make sure that you win charge attack priority. Because in these small single type cups like Psychic Cup, you're going to see a lot of those mirror matchups. And so that's where I think that you're going to be better off having something like an attack-weighted Rapidash, maybe even, you know, Malamar as well, because a lot of those mirror matches are going to happen, and you want to be able to win charge attack priority to take those matchups most of the time. So Rapidash has Mega Horn, and 2 things that you're going to find that are very strong in this Cup are going to be Bug-type damage, Ghost-type damage, I guess 3 things, and Dark-type damage, right? Anything that does Psychic, super effective damage to Psychic, in general, is going to be positive in this meta. Also, Pokemon that have a Psychic-type fast move are going to be at a severe disadvantage because they are, at worst, doing neutral damage with fast moves, and or at best, I guess, would be neutral damage, and at worst, they're going to be doing resisted to everything else in the, mostly everything else in the Cup. Unless you're running Galarian Slowbro, right, or something that's like sort of neutral to Psychic typing, but most of those Pokemon are going to have just neutral or less damage. So Psychic type fast moves are typically not preferred here. Now, Malamar is going to be the main exclusion to this rule, because Malamar has Psycho Cut and it has Psywave, and no one is going to run Peck because it's just a terrible move. So Psycho Cut, I actually think that Psycho Cut might be the better way to go here in this Cup, especially if you safe swap the Malamar, because Psycho Cut does generate energy just a little bit quicker, right? It's going to give you 4.5 energy per turn as opposed to 4. So you're basically getting 9 energy per Psycho Cut, whereas in 2 turns you're getting the 8 energy from Psywave. So it's slightly faster pacing, and Psywave, again, that's a Psychic type fast move that's not going to do a whole lot into the rest of this Cup. So foregoing your fast move pressure on Malamar for faster charge moves, I think, is going to probably be the way to go here. Also, you have Malamar running Hyper Beam so that you can just hit things really hard and really threaten those nukes, because you don't really need superpower in a meta dominated by Psychic types. It doesn't really do you any good here. So Foul Play and Hyper Beam is going to be the way to go here with Malamar. Victini, you have Quick Attack and you have V-Create. You want to run Overheat because Psychic really doesn't do a whole lot, but you could go either way here. V-Create debuffs your defense, and it's basically like a really strong, it feels like Brave Bird, right? It's just really quick with the Quick Attack. V-Create is just a busted move. And I am mad because I don't have a Victini for Great League anymore, because I built it for Ultra League like a fool. So yeah, you guys have fun with your Victinis. I'll be sitting here like Squidward in my house, not being able to play with mine. But yeah, having Mega Horn on Rapidash is going to be a must. And then breezing down here to Alolan Raichu because it has Wild Charge. It also has Trailblaze to be able to be a good safe swap to, like, you know, lure out those Clay Dolls that we're going to talk about in a minute. But Raichu is able to strip shields as well very quickly because of its ability to just go for those Wild Charges. So these 4 Pokemon are going to form, I think, the core meta. And then we're going to have some other picks that are right up there with them that are going to function a little bit more as like I guess the term would be more like closers, right? So let's take a look at these Pokemon now. So these are the Pokemon that are a little bit less flexible or would do very well if you can set them up to get a bit of an energy advantage head start. Galarian Slowbro is on the top of this list, and it could also function as a safe switch if you want it to. Having Poison Jab and Brutal Swing means that it's going to have very good overall coverage. The only thing that I would prefer not to have to go for a safe swap thing on the Slowbro here is just because there's going to be Claydolls in this meta, and that's just a very not good matchup for Galarian Slowbro having that poison subtyping. So I would probably either lead with the Slowbro or keep it hidden in the back. Slowbro is kind of that thing where it fits into the previous slide, but also fits here as something that can really start to steamroll a team if it gets a good energy lead, because having Brutal Swing is good coverage into the entire meta of Psychic types, and then Sludge Bomb can hit almost everything else that Brutal Swing would not. You could also opt for Surf if you want to, but Sludge Bomb having that stab nuke potential is probably going to be better off. Now, some other Pokemon on here, Claydol having that Mud Slap buff. It has a ton of different fast moves or charge moves that you can pick from, as Niantic really just loves buffing this thing for literally no reason. But I think that Mud Slap is finally going to be the thing it needed to get into contention here. It has a ton of different moves here that you can pick from. Shadow Ball is going to be the best one by far, because Ghost type damage into this meta where everything is going to take at least neutral from it, if not more, is really, really good. And then having Scorching Sands for that, that really nice stab, same type attack bonus, damage for everything else is going to be really good, especially with the potential of lowering the attack. But if the second move, you could replace Scorching Sands with most any move here that you find to be good into this meta. Rock Tomb would be one that might be good because you get that guaranteed attack drop. There's different things you could do here with this. But Gardevoir is just going to be that charmer in the meta, right? Everybody knows Gardevoir is just going to be that charming thing that just goes through it's going to be able to eat through Malamar, which is its main role here. But as far as everything else in this cup that it can go through, there's really not like a ton, right? Like, look at this. Victini, Claydol, Bronzong, Slowking, Slowbro, all these things beat Gardevoir because Gardevoir's main objective is to try to charm through things, and a lot of this meta can do damage back to it that is at least neutral. It's very squishy, right? So Bruxish is another Pokemon that's going to be in this list, and because of Bruxish having Bite, it's very, very common in this cup, which sort of makes it devolve into like a fast move Bite beatdown, which is really, ever since they put Bruxish in, the Psychic Cup has kind of been not so fun because it's just really strong in everything. But Bruxish is also very squishy. It's got about similar bulk to the Gardevoir, if not maybe a little bit less so. So you could see that, like, it definitely has some, like, Shadow Gardevoir is going to be the preferred form of Gardevoir if you're going to run it, but it loses to Malamar, loses to, like, Rapidash, loses to Slowbro, right? If the Bite isn't super effective, Bruxish probably loses to that Pokemon. Or if it's just a Pokemon that has any bulk to speak of as well. Cresselia really came back into the Psychic Cup after a while just to deal with Bruxish. Whereas in most other cases, it's not that great, but you could definitely make a case for Cresselia here, as it's going to have positive play into the Gardevoir, into the Claydol, into the Malamar with Moonblast, into the Bruxish with Grass Knot. So there's definitely ways for Cresselia to come in, but overall, I shy away from running Cresselia unless you see almost nothing but those things. And then Bronzong has access to Feint Attack. It's not Sucker Punch, but it has access to Feint Attack, giving it Dark-type damage again, similar to the Bruxish. Now, Feint Attack's pacing is terrible, so Bronzong is basically just going to be Dark-type fast move pressure and hoping to get a farm down for some nice nuke damage on its charge moves. That's essentially how Bronzong is going to focus, so it fits perfectly into this category here of Pokemon that are essentially just, you need to give them farm downs energy and then they can do really well. But Bronzong is probably one of the most, like, heaviest in this corner, but it can do so well into other things. Like, it just completely obliterates Gardevoir. It completely destroys Galarian Slowbro. It loses to Galarian Slowbro? Excuse me, hold on a minute. What? Okay. Bronzong can win the zeros and it can win the twos, but apparently 3 brutal swings is the perfect amount of damage for it to take, along with those poison jabs, I guess. So, all right, something I learned. That's exactly what we do here. But you win. Bronzong wins the zeros and the twos. So if you end up in that situation, just keep that in mind. That even 3 turns of energy, right? Like if your Bronzong ends up getting just a couple more feint attacks in before this happens, you might be able to take something, because you do get to a move here at the very end of this matchup. So it's definitely not a for sure win for the Slowbro. It's definitely much more favored for Bronzong, but just keep that in mind. Those brutal swings will hurt. So next slide is going to be some stuff that is going to be kind of lower on the rankings, but things that I think could do well. So let's go take a look at those next. What in the Spice Lord is this slide, right? Okay, so hear me out, okay? All right, hold on. So Galarian Slowking, all right, has Hex, has Shadow Ball, has Surf, has some seriously strong move pressure into this cup, functions as a very good safe swap because Shadow Ball, again, is completely unresisted in this meta, and Slowking can really do well with that particular move. You might be wondering, though, what the heck is the rest of this stuff doing on this screen? Well, let's talk about Hoopa, okay? Because Hoopa's one that I think is going to fly under the radar for a little bit here. Or maybe it's overranked, I don't know. But look at this thing. It's terrible. It's a very squishy, not well typed Pokemon here, being Psychic and Ghost. You just get obliterated by every dark move ever. So this is something that maybe you lead with, maybe you farm down and get some energy with, right? This is just, but it has buffed Astonish. And Astonish being stab on Hoopa could allow for some really nasty farm downs. You guys have seen how hard Astonish hits on Pokemon that have already been good in the other leagues. Imagine same type attack bonus, ghost type damage on Astonish, just mowing through something like, like Gardevoir, like anything that doesn't resist or have that neutral damage from Ghost. I think Hoopa could do really like sneaky good here. However, you need to keep it away from anything with dark type damage, so there's also that. The BGM is a very similar thing here, except it does not have the same type attack bonus on Astonish, but what it does have is it has Dark Pulse. And Dark Pulse and Astonish, again, that's really good coverage into a meta that's only allowing Psychic type Pokemon. So something that might fly under the radar, might be good, could be kind of spicy, but it's number 10 on the rankings, so we can't really ignore it. LGM is of the same exact, it's the same evolution line, but it has to be an XL, so probably something you're not worried about. We have Kanto Slowbro with Water Gun, and its main purpose here is to beat Victini and Claydol. So if that is something that you are interested in trying to do, Slowbro in the past has done very good in Psychic Cup with that Water Gun pressure, and there's really not a whole lot in the top meta that just outright resists it, right? So for the most part, like unless you're facing off against like Malamar, Bruxish, I guess Bruxish is about the only thing. Like Slowbro has a chance to do well into most things, and if you have a Shadow, it might be a good time to use your Shadow Slowbro. And then the other one I want to bring up here is Shadow Latios. Now, Shadow Latios, there's very few things here that resist Dragon Breath, okay? There's just Bronzong and Gardevoir and Rapidash. So if you can keep the Latios off of those things, those Dragon Breaths will rip through almost anything in this cup. I don't know if you guys remember, but last time I did shoutcast a team that used Shadow Latios last time we had Psychic Cup, and the person who used it was the second person in the world to hit Legend with Shadow Latios in the Psychic Cup. So it definitely has play if you've got one, but it also is incredibly squishy and slightly RPS into a Pokemon, into a slightly RPS Pokemon into a meta that is for sure going to have multiple things that are common that can possibly beat it. So it's just going to be dodge the fairies and steals in your. I mean, honestly, like Shadow Latios, that Dragon Breath damage is oppressive, and it has the Dragon Claw bait move as well as its Luster Purge. And some other honorable mentions here that I want to throw up as this is the last slide of like dedicated Pokemon here, but Cresselia again could do well if the meta gets down to things like Claydol, Bruxish. Like it beats all of those things, but unfortunately you also just kind of lose to Victini, Slowbro. Like you beat some of the top meta and you lose to some of the top meta. So Cresselia is a very risky play that doesn't seem like it's going to be super consistent, but it has a chance to do okay. Meowstic, I think might do okay here. It's the male version. It has Sucker Punch, Energy Ball, and Thunderbolt. Its charge move pool is not amazing, but it does have Sucker Punch. So anything with Sucker Punch, I feel like in a Psychic meta is going to be okay. Let's take a look at everything, honestly. What is all of the things that have Sucker Punch? It's literally just Meowstic. Okay, never mind. It's literally just Meowstic. Chimecho, again, has that Astonish Shadow Ball, but it's not a Ghost type. I'm shying away from using something like Metang, although it does do very, very well into the poisons, the fairies, and even some of the other Pokemon here. But Metal Claw has not proven to me that it's good enough to give Metang as much in this meta as you would like, because you're going to see a ton of things that just beat Steels in general. Because, you know, you basically, you might as well just play Bronzong, honestly. Armarouge and is Ceruledge? No, I think Armarouge is Psychic and then Ceruledge is Ghost. So Armarouge with Incinerate, Flame Charge, you do have an alternative to Victini, and having Incinerate, very interesting because it allows you to do so much damage against stuff that doesn't outright resist it. And let's see, the number of things that outright resist fire are literally Bruxish. And Victini. Bruxish and Victini, and that's it. And Victini, you resist all of their damage. They also resist all of your damage, so it's a lot of fun. But Armarouge could do well if you have been lucky enough to get this, what's its name? The Charcadet from the research that allowed you to evolve into an Armarouge or Ceruledge under 1500. So this is going to be a very limited thing to have, but it could be good with Incinerate. And then pretty much everything at this point is like stuff with Psychic type moves, or just stuff that's super, super bad into the rest of the meta. So pretty much like that's the end of the list right there. So that's going to be our look into the Psychic Cup. Again, you could basically take 3 of any of these Pokemon and mix and match them into a team here. And then we're just going to have to see how the meta shakes out. If you want to, you could try and run sort of a pseudo ABB line where you have maybe something strong against the fairies in the lead and use 2 things in the back to lure the fairies out. Or you could, you know, I think that the fairies and steels are going to be the most like RPS things in this meta to play with. So if you can like build a team that kind of lures out Gardevoir, Claydol, and Bronzong and stuff like that and tries to play around them, I think that's going to be the best case scenario for you. But other than that, looking forward to see how the Psychic Cup shakes out alongside Master League. So 2 different, very different metas to play in. Hopefully Psychic Cup isn't too bad. At least it's only 1 week. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. We'll see you guys when we play the Psychic Cup together on stream. I hope you guys have a great week in the rotation. Let me know in the comments what Pokemon you're looking forward to using here in the Psychic Cup, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.